I think it's time to get started. Is everybody ready? Are you all good?
Oh, I'm ready.
so. I'm ready.
I've been waiting for that.
Welcome to the Glittering Canvas. Let's go!
Yeah!
This is the Glittering Canvas, a science fiction adventure here at the Winged Badger Tavern. I am Josh, your Winged Badger Game Master. I'm joined by some of my friends. Friends, why don't we introduce each other? Let's go around the table this way. We'll start here. Introduce yourself and give us your character sentence.
Hello, I am Trevor. I will be playing Astroodon, who is a Tier 1 lucky explorer who works for a living.
What's happening, guys? My name's Tyler. I'm going to be playing Ronan Voss, who is a tongue-tied explorer who sailed beneath the Jolly Roger.
Let's go.
Hello, I'll be playing Jacqueline. I am a Tier 6 naive AI who entertains.
Also, what's your real name?
Oh, I guess if you really want to know that, it's Cleo, I guess. All right, fine, whatever.
Hello, I'm Mike, and I will be playing Mark Putty, a clumsy adept who talks to the system.
Amazing. And again, I'm Josh. I'll be playing everybody else. I'm going to be trying out some new accents for this adventure that I haven't done before. So if they suck, don't roast me. It's only day one. I'm working on it, okay? And without further ado, we're going to begin this incredible adventure in the Glittering Canvas.
Let's go.
So let me set the tone here for you. Let me set the scene a little bit. What you see in front of you, you at home, you in the world, is a screen, a number of screens. In fact, each of you is going to get to describe some screens for us in a little bit. But first, we go in person to the bridge of the Spirit of Inquiry, a massive starship that has been created to go on a deep space exploration mission. This is the first time humanity has ever left our solar system, much less the Milky Way. And we're going big. We're going to the edge of the known mapped universe. Right now, standing on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back, his stubble kind of perfectly trimmed to regulation length, is Chet Gamma, a former fighter pilot who is now the captain of the Spirit of Inquiry. He's 26 years old. It's a distinguished moment for him. And he stands addressing a screen, or a camera, I should say, that his shipboard AI, Jacqueline, is controlling. And as he begins his speech, his voice rings out across the cosmos to the entire solar system that we live in. All of our planets have been colonized, though we have not yet broken faster than light travel, so we haven't escaped the Milky Way. Colleagues, friends, citizens, this is a monumentous day. Not just for the future it represents, but for the history it marks. 400 years ago, on this day, Earth suffered a terrible tragedy. Hundreds of thousands of lives were lost. And like humans do, we persevered. From the ashes of that disaster, we discovered a literal glimmer of hope, this new chemical, Cosmeridium. Today, we embark on the Spirit of Inquiry to turn that hope, turn that glimmer into a new dawn for all of humanity. Jacqueline, you are in the broadcast room with Dean Lagrange hovering over your holographic avatar. I'd like for you to describe what this little broadcast control room looks like and how you're feeling as Dean Lagrange is kind of hovering there.
Well, standing at attention, trying my best to ignore the looming shadow of Dean Lagrange. I'm not particularly comfortable with it, but I won't let him know that. Meanwhile, I make sure to control camera angles and such in a circle around Chet Gamma. Screens are moving in front of me, holographic, and just for me. As I find the perfect camera angle, another camera moves into place, ready to switch. And of course, mid-speech, Chet would look over to that camera now, and monitors show him crowds from all around Earth and from all the other planets is the words I was looking for.
There are some plants on those planets.
And all done with a straight and emotionless face, as that is usually what I do when I'm uncomfortable and find somebody that I utterly despise watching over my back in the most literal sense.
though you can't feel his breath literally because you're a holographic body projected as an artificial intelligence, if you could, it would be like as though he were literally like right up against your neck. He's leaning over the hollow table, watching the screens intently. He's got a pretty aged face. Dean Lagrange is someone who's been around forever and ever and ever. He's got on his dark sort of intelligence community uniform. And as he leans there kind of watching the broadcast, Jacqueline, don't forget, we need to showcase the crew as well. Cut to this feed. Let's show this camera, the one of the maintenance team, the engineering. Let's show them a little bit.
I'm getting to it. If you would please hold for 3, 2, 1.
And I cut to the medical bay first. And they've already been set up in action. This is all on stage, of course.
Right.
As they mess with liquids, move blood from one vial to the next.
Beakers and lab coats and
then they switch to engineering.
Okay, and as you cut to engineering, Astro Adon, I would like you to take us to Titan and describe for us the room from which Amalthea is watching, what she sees on the screen, what it looks like, as you stand with the rest of the crew in formation, and then also what the energy and the atmosphere is like in that place.
Okay, so on Titan, the room Amalthea is watching from is probably
In just a little bit for me.
oh yeah, sorry. She's probably watching like in person in like there's like a big gathering that everyone would have congregated to for the event, as not a lot has happened on Titan, so this is like a big monumentous event for the people on that moon. And so she's one of many in a crowd, probably in a reserve seat close to the front. Astro is looking very stoic and serious, and along with the crew, like they're standing kind of in formation. If there's boxes that need to be moved onto the ship, then that would be happening behind the scenes too.
Describe his outfit and stuff for us too.
Oh.
This is everyone's first time meeting him.
So Astro's wearing his safety construction vest filled with lots of tools and whatever things he would need. And he kind of tall, like 5'7", 5'8". And again, just kind of like focused. Yeah, very focused, I guess, is his mood, and I think the engineering teams in general.
Amazing. Chet's speech continues on as the camera angles change. We kind of pick up, he's been droning on this whole time, but we kind of pick up, this voyage is about what it takes to be human. No member of this crew is perfect, but they hold that spirit of inquiry so crucial to the success of our kind. And I ask you, citizens of our galaxy, to band together in support of these brave explorers. Those who pray, pray. Those who hope, hope. Uplift their families in the uncertain months or years ahead. And at this moment, the camera feed cuts to another screen. I would like you, Mike, to describe what your sister Michelle sees on Neptune, probably from her own little apartment, watching on the screen, how she's doing, what the room is like, and then what she sees as we cut to the research team, where Mark Putty stands among the rest of the researchers.
You would see Michelle snuggled up very cozily on the couch. She's got a little cat in her lap. She's looking at the TV with a mixture of pride and worry as she sees a little flash of her little brother on the screen, keeping her hands clasped real tight, hoping that he's going to be okay. And we see Mark Putty doing he's got a nice little data pad that's got some scratches on it. Looks like it's been beat up but well used. He's a very tired looking 35-year-old man with brown hair, a little bit of stubble. He's very practically dressed. He's got a company issued jacket with the colors of the ship, the black and the yellow, a hoodie underneath it. And as you see him as he's tapping on his data pad with his painted nails, you see he's got a goldfish or a little fish droid floating around him, just kind of keeping him calm. He's tapping with one hand on the thing, and he's got a little quartz crystal around his neck that he periodically fidgets with to seemingly keep himself calm.
Amazing. As we kind of see this feed, Chet Gamma continues on. I know their friends, their family are all incredibly proud of these distinguished individuals. And the camera cuts from there to kind of the lineup, some of the people who don't have specific tasks to showcase, and they're just kind of assembled, like kind of hands clasped behind their backs, readiness. And we see Ronan Voss standing there. Ronan, I would love for you to talk about not just what Ronan looks like standing here at attention, but also how he's feeling as Captain Gamma is talking about everyone's friends and family and all these connections back home who are like rooting for them. Like, what is that like internally for you?
Well, Ronan's definitely standing there at attention. He's a very loyal crewmate to this crew. He's probably standing there in his chef's outfit, probably has apron on, a couple stains here and there from his cooking. He might even still have his knife and or spoon still tucked away in his pocket there. On his shoulder is going to be IVN, aka Ivan. It's his little, almost like a little comfort droid in a way. It's something that mimics almost his emotions. He might talk to it to comfort himself, but it's sitting there also at attention, just as Ronan is. Feeling wise, he's keeping it to himself. He doesn't really show emotion much, and even when asked, he might stray away from that thought. But you can tell, at least he can tell in his mind, he's not paying attention too much to it and trying to kind of just vibe out and look at something different, because he knows that he can get emotional for thinking he's alone in there. He doesn't really have anybody he's going out for. He's doing this more for himself.
Especially shoulder to shoulder with crewmates who are probably all thinking about someone back home. Absolutely. Or, brothers and sisters they've left behind or something like that.
So it's like another smaller reminder that he's like kind of still alone on this journey right now, at least. But, it's something he's been used to. It's just like a second reminder where he's just like, all right, well, this is a familiar feeling. I'll get through it.
Yeah.
So, but he's going to be, he's at attention. He's focused.
Got it. And we cut from there back to the bridge of the Spirit of Inquiry where, Jacqueline's avatar kind of floats in front of Chet Gamma doing all of the broadcast work. Dean Lagrange is standing there over her shoulder. And then Chet himself is kind of standing on, a little elevated platform right in front of his captain's chair. And he ends with one of those like inspirational one-liners that is kind of meant to like, just in case this runs into history, like I'm going to say something that we can quote or put on a poster or whatever. Players, I'd like you to help me figure out what is that quote? What is that ringing endorsement of the voyage that he sends out into the night?
Hope is a seed that needs to be watered. Oh God, I had it there for a moment. Sparkin. Hope is a seed that will only blossom when risks are taken. I don't know. I'm making it up on the spot here.
I like it. Beautiful.
I like it.
All right. So he looks out and he says, and remember, hope is a seed that only blossoms when we take risks. So today we take the ultimate risk in hopes of humanity blossoming into something beautiful.
That was perfect.
Thank you, Jacqueline. And the camera's cut, and the Spirit of Inquiry still floating over top of Mars, a distant view of the Mars Research Station, this kind of massive facility floating out in the distance. The announcement comes over the ship's PA. All right, crew, everyone get to your places. We're going to be setting out here shortly. Let's get everything shipshape here. This thing's got it. We're going to be on TV. Don't screw this up. And it cuts. And in the bridge with you, Jacqueline, a flurry of activity begins. The different members of the bridge team, Saren Peters, the helmswoman, rushes forward to the helm. We have kind of the spread of people. Let's jump down to some of our other crew members and see how they're doing for a little bit. Mark Putty, where do you think Mark would need to be for the ship to embark? Where do you think his kind of place would be, and what is it like as he's headed there?
I think he would just be in the main engineering department around all the other kind of data folks
Okay.
Just kind of doing last minute checks on everything, making sure everything's in order. If there's any sort of things that are coming up as flagging as being wrong.
Sure.
Just doing some last minute little.
So that sounds to me like he's probably rubbing shoulders with Astra. So as you kind of walk out of, maybe wherever you were kind of like, posing for the cameras, and you walk into the engineering bay, Astra, what are you working on as you get everything ready for departure?
So he has his clipboard and he is just going through all of the boxes, making sure all inventory is accounted for, making sure there's nothing left behind that needs to be brought on really quick, or just doing triple checks to make sure we have everything we need.
Got it. So you walk in, Astra's there doing triple checks, and then also Kyle Smith, the ensign engineer, our engineering team. We have a lead engineer, Dr. Zara Lowe, and then we have Kyle Smith, who is sort of like the second in command to him. He's kind of standing there, going over a couple of maybe calibration tweaks to one of the engines, but mostly kind of standing around. Like there's nothing broken for him to work on. The ship is brand freaking new. They've been building it for like 20 years. And then we just spent a whole year of everyone training on it and making sure the systems work. So he's kind of just leaning in the corner as you walk in. Take it away. Show us what's going on.
I go and just glide into the room, go over to one of the main terminal pads, just doing a quick run through everything. I completely blow by Kyle. Don't even say hi to him. Give him a bit of a little glare.
Hello to you too,
Kyle.
Hi, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good. And I just go. I silently kind of go in. I make a quick eye contact with Astro. Give him a nice little pleasant nod, and just kind of anxiously type in all my stuff and make sure I've got everything in order.
Great. As you begin typing everything in, and you're kind of like, checking over the databases for the ship and everything, kind of verifying file integrities, making sure, especially the biggest thing for you and for Jacqueline right now is the calculations for the jump, right? Like the way that Cosmeridium works is we have to explode it in a way that we control. So essentially we have two massive particle accelerators that run along the length of the ship, and then in front of the ship they will collide two pieces of Cosmeridium, and if you can do that at the right velocity and angle, then it will compress space-time in front of you. So it's not like you're going faster than light. It's like we're taking somewhere far away and we're literally shrinking the distance between them until the explosion burns out. And then you have however long that explosion lasts for your ship to get through there while it's undergoing all of the G-forces of the compression of space-time, and then it emerges on the other side. So it's a pretty detailed calculation, and one that, yes, Jacqueline is supposed to be handling, but you have been assigned the redundancy for. And as you sign in and you're looking at the different numbers and whatever, you see that on screen, there's your redundancy calculation, and as it has been for probably 4 months, the calculation is done. It is probably perfect, but it has not been submitted to the bridge for here's our redundant check, we're ready to go. Like it's all figured out. Are you running it again, or are you doing it? Are you sending this one in? How are we feeling about it?
I think you see him sweating, just a little bit, wiping his brow. He's got his little bone conducting kind of headphones that you could just, if you were to touch him, you could hear the low hum of just like an alpha tone that's helping to keep him calm. It's like, Jacqueline, everything look good on this? I just want to make triple sure that we're doing okay. I can run over to a different department if we just want to.
Hello, Mark Putty.
Jacqueline, yes, hello.
Yes. Well, we've been over this for a couple of months now, and
yeah,
I do believe you are a great mind.
Thank you.
But we've been over this. I think it looks good.
Yeah,
I know.
I think it looks good too. I just, it can never be too safe. It's something like this. We're smashing rocks together. First time jumping across the galaxy for something like compressing. We might not come back. So
Hey,
I just want to be sure everyone's going to be okay. If I tell the captain everything's going to be okay.
I do want to say that technically I'm not allowed to have seen these until the moment I verify them.
Yeah.
But even then, it looks amazing. You did great work, Mark.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to go over to the science department and just double check everything over there, if that's okay.
Sure. Can you do a favor and double check that the engines are calibrated to the specifications that I put in the file?
Yeah, you just said everything was fine, though.
Well, those are the calculations for the particle accelerators.
Yeah.
I need to make sure the engines can get us through fast enough.
Sure. Yeah. I'll take a peek at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So Astro, you watch Mark Putty walk into the room, brush off Kyle, sit down at a computer, log in laboriously, like all the passwords and identity checks and everything, look at it for about 25 seconds, sweat, and then he gets up to leave. Gets up to leave and head to another room. And then as he's turning away, he turns back to the little speaker next to his workstation and says, yeah, I can do that. Are you going to interact with him at all, or are you just...
Yeah, I'll walk over to him really quick. Hey, Mark,
Hey, Astro.
do you need help with anything? You seem pretty, nervous.
Great. I'm fine. No, thank you.
What are you nervous for, Mark? Kyle walks over and puts a hand on your shoulder in that way that like it's like a bro would do it, except
Touching.
it's definitely not your bro. You know, like hand on your shoulder. It's gonna be fine.
Touching Kyle, I know I've asked you. You're a fine guy, but please do not touch. Please do not touch.
I'm just trying to encourage you. I can see that you're feeling a little nervous.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I'm doing just fine. And you see, as I say that, you see my little my fish. He's like an iridescent kind of very elegant looking shiny little fish comes over and just like blows on me just a little bit. Like, so I'm fine. I'm doing just
does
fine.
Does it like blow bubbles at all?
With it's just a little gust of air. It's meant to like get dust out of machines, but he also uses it to calm himself a little bit, just like a little breeze on the ship. It's like, I'm doing just fine, Kyle. Thank you. It's fine to see you.
Well, is there anything that I can do to help?
No.
Looks like you got a lot in that brain.
No, I think you've got plenty going on, right?
He's just standing there in the middle of the engineering bay. Nothing is happening.
No, you look pretty busy, Kyle.
It's going to be a couple months before we're at the edge of the solar system. You know, we got time, you know, if you want to. Yeah.
If you want to what, Kyle?
Delegate.
But
Look, man, I'm here to help. You know, if you don't feel like you're, you know, up for something that they've
it's great to
assigned
see you,
I
Astro.
can.
It's great to see you. Astro. I got other things to check. He just kind of goes off the room as you see the fish just blowing on him as he goes out.
Astro just nods.
Kyle looks over at Astro. I can't believe that guy, huh? What is that? He's so unsocial.
He's doing his best.
Oh, okay. Whatever you say. Hey, how's that checklist going? Anything you need me to take care of?
I think there's a box that needs to be brought on.
A box, like cargo?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm already on the ship.
You hear
Yes.
Mark groan from down below.
And it would be nice if it was on the ship.
Right. Okay. Are they docking at Warehouse 4 or Warehouse 1?
Warehouse 1.
Warehouse 1. All right, I'll get forwards there. Hey, guess what, Mark? I'm going the same way you are. And he walks towards you.
Fantastic.
We cut from here to the med bay. Ronan Voss, you are standing next to Victor Meridia, the ship's chief medical officer, and he's just going over the life support systems and stuff, making sure, you know, water filtration's good, the oxygen levels are right, all that kind of stuff. Nobody's going to be in cryo for the jump because we don't know what might go wrong on the ship, so we want everybody to be awake and, you know, alert just in case we need to repair things as we pass through the Cosmeridium horizon. But we still need to make sure all the systems are running, and so that's kind of what he's doing. What is Ronan up to in this space? It's a narrow room with a bunch of like beeping lights and readouts and stuff along the edges. It's kind of the attic of the medical bay. These are all the automated systems that he's checking.
Ronan's definitely taking it all in. It's a lot extra stuff for him that he doesn't understand. So he's just, it's tech. He just knows that, and he knows that it's working right. That's about it. But at the moment, he's just kind of keeping his thoughts to himself as he's talking, or as he's listening to, I guess, Victor. Is Victor saying anything right now, or just kind of Victor keeping to themselves? At the moment?
He's probably like humming to himself, going along here. He might every now and then, you know, hey Ronan, can you hold this in place for me really quick so I can get that tightened down, or you know, like little things like that. But for the most part, he's just, you know, he's got his checklist. Victor Meridia is a guy who's, you know, he's been a doctor for a long time. He's in his 70s. He's kind of seen it all as far as you know, medical emergencies and stuff go. He's been working on ships for 30 years. And he, you know, he's pretty calm about all of the possibilities. So he's not really a guy who like stresses before a flight.
That's probably like the best person for Ronan to be working with of all people. And I imagine that Victor is one of those old guys who just likes to talk about his past glories, which is be perfect for Ronan because he's a good listener.
Yeah, a little bit of war stories.
He's probably just sitting there going, yep, Oh, wow. And, just
Yeah.
kind of trying to keep up with the guy because he respects him, but, he's also not, Ronan's not too much of just like a sharing of his information kind of guy.
Yeah,
So mostly he's doing a lot of listening right now, kind of just taking the area in. 'Cause I don't think
Yeah.
he's probably not been up there maybe yet.
Yeah, we see Victor kind of routing the oxygen and like managing the different pressurization levels in the ship. He's kind of dialing something. He goes, "Yeah, you'll never believe. So one time, back a couple of years ago, so I had this ship right where the oxygen it was routed right, but nobody checked the pipes to make sure that like the conduits were sealed. And so what happened is we had a bulkhead that got stuck, right? And so even though we were routing the oxygen the way it was supposed to be routed, we kept coming up with this situation where it's like, why is there no oxygen? Why do people keep passing out in the break room? And I keep telling them, you gotta check the conduits. I always tell them, you gotta check the conduits. It's not enough to have the software. I mean, shipboard AI is great and all, but I'm telling you, there was a time where we didn't even have shipboard AI and we had to do all this stuff by hand. Yeah, people they don't do it anymore. And then you wind up with emergencies that don't need to be emergencies. So anyway, these conduits look good. Huh?
Fantastic.
Mr. Meridia, have you submitted your paperwork on the reports of the crew? Psychological data?
Paperwork. I got it written down. I don't... Submitted where?
You need to digitize that. We've been over this.
HIPAA's been around for like 1,200 years. I think that we can probably figure out a solution that doesn't involve me violating the crew's privacy by uploading their deepest moments to your consciousness.
What years?
I'm a part of HIPAA. I've been certified. You can trust me. We've been over this. This is part of your training.
Anytime a computer says you can trust me, sure sign you can't. I had this one ship that I was on about 40 years ago, right? Where I was on the ship. It was just a short voyage, a little cargo hauler. And the AI was like, dude, just let me manage the manifest, you know? And I was like, you really shouldn't be, we have a supply officer, like Astra. We have a supply officer on this ship who should be managing the manifest. He should be making sure everything's there. And the AI's like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Doctor.
And you know what they did? They skimmed off the AI skimmed off the top. Imagine that. A computer acting independently, skimming off the top of the
I'm
inventory.
still connected to your comms, Doctor.
Hey, Jacqueline.
Sorry, can you still see me? Is it on? Can you...
I'm in the security camera, Doctor.
We have cameras in the medical bay? That doesn't seem safe. It seems like an invasion of privacy.
Well, not for the cordoned off areas, but right now you're just in your office.
Oh. Disregard, delete the last 30 seconds of recording material code 56B.
Beep, bop, boop, beep, beep. Deleting recording. Anyway, I'll be
You're just lying to him, right?
Yes.
Okay. Roll an intellect task. Difficulty of 1. Target roll of 3. First roll of the campaign.
It went under the phone.
I got a not a 1. I got a 7.
Okay, that is better than a
Yes.
difficulty of 3. He goes, you got to know all the override codes for these AIs, man, because sometimes you screw up and then you don't want that to get back to the captain or anything, right?
Sorry,
it's
Doctor.
I had this one ship I was on like 50 years ago.
Mark pops in.
Mark pops in to walk through.
It just comes in very silently. Gentlemen,
Oh,
perhaps at another screen.
hey, he probably had a similar experience. You work with computers and such, right?
Yeah.
So 50 years ago, I'm on this ship. You just keep walking.
Ronan's just gonna sit back and kind of slowly back out as he focuses on Mark now.
Walking behind Mark, you see Kyle Smith. Hey, so I'm going forward to check on the. What did he ask me to check on again? I think he needed me in warehouse 1, so I'm headed forward to warehouse 1 here. Which luckily it's the whole length of the ship. We
Fish
can
is
walk
blowing
together
on
and talk
Mark
about
even
it.
harder. You see him so annoyed with 2 people he does not want to be. Looks with pleading eyes to Ronan, like, please, like, handle these guys.
Ronan's gonna go, Ronan's gonna kind of like take the eye of Mark and just be like, kind of understand the situation. He's gonna kind of nod his head and hope that he's not gonna be able to take out at least both of them to like get him to, away from the situation. But at least with Kyle, he's gonna like bump into Kyle like, hey, you hungry? Like, I got something new to try. Real quick, you got time?
Oh, Yeah, I love food. You got snacks?
Come on.
Let's go.
We
Deployment
got you a little
snacks.
something.
Hey, Mark, I'll have to catch up with you later. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
try.
crazy. I'll catch you another
Just
time.
nod
Right.
over to Mark real quick.
Awesome.
I feel like having Mark having the fish and then having the IVM, maybe that is like a instant like, oh, okay, he might have something for comfort too.
Yeah.
He's clearly not doing good either. So
He's clearly not well.
Mark's fine.
Amazing. So, so you head down the stairs and into like the proper medbay area, and then through one of the heavy doors and into the elevator that's at the center of the ship. However, you don't need to change decks. You're going to pass right across in front of the elevator and head towards food storage. And so you head towards food storage, and then there's just a small little spiral stair back up to the kitchens, the mess hall, which is really your domain. I mean, as the ship's cook, this is a place where everything in it is arranged exactly how you've wanted it. And so I'd love for you to describe for me, what is the mess hall like as the doors kind of open and you walk into the next space?
I think at least the mess hall, it would be classic long tables down the middle style, like all the way down, benches all the way. Maybe only 2, just to have because it's not, it's 20-person crew, as we said. So yeah, 10 on each table, like that, just going all the way down. I think that's perfect there. I might have a buffet style line, although a lot of the times it will just be plates being brought out because maybe I'm already pre-cooking the stuff in the back and plating it back there. So it'll be a line for me to plate stuff, or just stuff to be put out for that I don't have to take over. At least in the back, he's going to have a full kitchen to his disposal, maybe a walk-in fridge and or freezer. Going to have plenty of stock. He'll be back. There'll probably be a bunch of stuff already pre-prepped that he's already gotten through. There might be some extra spices and stuff he hasn't taken out of boxes yet. Maybe there's a bunch of stuff, ingredients he hasn't taken out. So it's maybe stocked up in the corner of the kitchen in some boxes. But he's going to have clean grills. Everything's going to be nice and shiny. Maybe some used spots there because they were the one there for a year. But for the most part, very well maintained, very clean. I would say it's going to have a nice, not gritty vibe, but you go in there and okay, this isn't luxury, but this is about to be a good meal. That's kind of what he wants to go for. He's not going to, this isn't all that, but you're going to leave satisfied.
Got it.
Type of deal. And that's his kind of vibe for that little spot.
Cool. And as you walk in with Kyle, there are a few other crew members, mostly the research team, who don't really have anything they need to fix, before deployment, who are sitting in there. So we see Kaya Smith, Kyle's sister, the ship's botanist, is sitting off kind of by herself in the corner as Kyle walks in. Hi, sis. Hey, don't come over. I don't want to talk to anybody. You grew up with me. Why are you coming out? And just just stay away from me. Leave me alone. And you kind of lead Kyle somewhere to kind of, I guess you're distracting him with food, right?
Most likely I would probably, Ronan would motion him to either go sit down next to his sister or just have a seat there.
Sure.
I'll bring you something.
He takes a seat and you head into the kitchen and kind of get to work.
In question, do we know what time of the day this might be at currently?
Probably noonish.
Okay.
Noon or 1.
All right, I can get away with this. He's going to go in the back, and maybe there's probably going to have some food in the back there that's in the case the chef can't cook something right away. Maybe there's something that's already pre-made and pre-prepped that you can just heat up or drop in some water, boil it, whatever. So he's going to have a pre-prepped quiche that he's going to pop together. And he's going to pop that down. He's going to throw some extra peppers and mushrooms right on top of it just to get it going. Pop it right out to Kyle, right out the door. And hopefully Kyle's going to be now locked into that for the next however long.
Sure. Perfect. Dude, I'm going to have to tell you, if you're going to be this descriptive with your food, this is going to be really tough for me to not eat the entire stream.
It's really
Sounds
easy to talk about food when your mouth is watering already.
Yeah. We're going to cut from here back to Mark Putty, who's headed across the ship towards the research area. You were basically just finding an excuse to leave Kyle, right? That's
a bit. I am doing way too anxious of stuff, kind of outside of my need of regulation, but just looking at as many of the departments as I can. So
I wonder if maybe you find your way down to deck 7 to the observation dome, which is just it's like a little orb almost sticking out the side of the ship. It's just another spot to observe, especially beneath the ship if you need to look for damage or whatever. But from where you are, you have a totally different view of the research station. Looks like that, looking along the length of the Spirit of Inquiry, and you're kind of by yourself. It's finally you've found somewhere peaceful. You kind of sit down, or whatever in that room. If any of the other characters want to enter this scene at whatever point they can, but just talk to us about What's going on with Mark Putty right now?
He is quietly freaking out inside. He's looking down at the planet. He's got this moment to himself, and you just see him kind of curl into himself a little bit. He's breathing very heavy. Almost looks like he's on the verge of tears, maybe like a panic attack boiling up. And in this moment, he does. I think he reaches out. Jacqueline, are you available for a quick thing?
Hello, Mark. I've detected elevated heart rate levels. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I mean, no. I'm really doing pretty bad right now, Jackie. Especially with my. Sorry, I got to turn down the music in my bone conducting headphones. Yeah, no, I'm not really doing too great. I don't. And I'm supposed to be here, but like I don't really feel like I belong, and I just don't know if I'm really quite ready to just kind of jump away from everything I ever knew. If that makes any sense to you, I know you're supposed to kind of be here. Yeah,
it's okay. A lot of these humans are in the same position that you are in. They're all reaching beyond what they were designed for, and your species has been doing this for a long time. I mean, look at your history.
Yeah.
All of you came from Earth, and yet here you are already sprinkled among the planets around your star, and you reach outward for more, and you're going to be on the spearhead of that. And you're in safe hands. Remember, even though you're doing the redundant calculations, I did the primary calculations.
I do trust you.
Sorry, my language is a little off today.
okay.
I'm gonna have to get that recalibrated.
Yeah,
GM intrusion on Jacqueline. Jacqueline, you notice that it's not that you're making a mistake. Something is running improperly in your language subroutine. There's like a single line of code in there that you don't remember ever adding to your cortex. Take 2 XP, get 1 away.
I'll, of course, give it to the other person in the scene, Mark Putty. I didn't know where the XP was, so I just put it down.
Oh, did I not give you anywhere for it? Oops. Use the big square on the top left.
That's fine. Mark, I'm detecting something that can wait for later. And I put like a little subroutine to just kind of keep I guess like a little sticky on that.
Sure.
So I don't lose it. But Mark, yes, you are going to embark on a journey that will change not just you, not just me, not just the crew, but all of humanity forever. And you earned your place here, right? You wouldn't be on this ship if you hadn't figured out a way to get on this ship.
Yeah, I should be here. Yeah, I definitely belong here.
I believe you do. No matter what others say, Mark, you have a great mind that we are going to need. And I would not be so nervous. Look, you've already gotten to Mars. I mean, we just gotta go a few other planets and we'll be out of the way. And then we're just gonna smash 2 little rocks together.
Just 2 rocks.
Do a little jump and a skip.
As she says, smashing 2 little rocks, he just fidgets with his crystals. Like, yeah, it's just a little thing. Thank you, Jackie. I think I'll be okay.
Hey, and you know what? We've done it with probes, and some of them came back with data.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. Very good. I think that's about all. I think we reached. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have to go check on something.
Yeah, please don't be continuing to look at me through the cameras. I know you did that with Victor. I know.
Oh no, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I like to just keep my eye on certain personnel.
Yep. Thank you. Okay.
Speaking of keeping your eye on certain personnel, where is Jackie going next?
Jackie is going to go check on Dean Lagrange.
Okay.
She has a subroutine keeping a camera affixed and just monitoring very basic data, but it can't interpret data.
Sure.
So she's going to go check on him now.
Great. So whenever you kind of resync with one of these subroutines that you leave behind, it's almost like filling in your current timeline. So it's like you remember something you had forgotten almost from like whatever's been recorded in the past, as well as because you're synchronized with it, you're obviously there in the present. And so there's a brief moment that's actually a little bit disorienting as all the new data kind of like streams in, and you recalculate and calibrate to what this timeline looks like. He's been on the bridge since the ship embarked. And the ship is now, thrusters are powering up. We're kind of moving to get out of Mars's orbit and get towards the asteroid belt. And that will set us on probably about a month's journey through just the solar system. Because of the volatility of a Cosmeridium event, we're going to try and get past all of the planets with humans on them before we explode some Cosmeridium.
Sounds fair.
So the ship is navigating in a more traditional way just to get to the edge of our solar system. But Dean Lagrange is standing there with Chet Gamma. Neither of them is looking at each other or speaking to each other. And occasionally one of them will give an order and the other one will give the same order, but like with different words, like a little bit of a sparring over territory.
Dean Lagrange,
Yes, Jackie?
have you done your inspection of the crew? I know that you like to do your weekly inspection, and I've noticed that you haven't put in a report in yet.
Jacqueline, I have put in a report.
It looks like there may have been an error in that report. It looks like you'll need to resubmit.
Great. Roll an intellect attack.
Okay. I'm assuming I don't know the difficulty.
You don't.
I'm going to, as I try to remember the cipher system, edge is the amount of times I can use effort, right? Or free effort?
Edge comes off of the effort you spend. So 3 points from your pool for a level of effort. But if you have an edge of 2, you only spend 1 point from your pool, right?
Oh, right.
So you figure out how many points you're going to spend,
Yes.
Then you subtract your edge.
All right, I'm going to use 3 levels of effort.
Okay, so that's 3 plus 2 plus 2. That's, what is that?
7.
7, minus whatever your edge is.
7.
Okay. Great.
And you know what? We'll throw in an extra level of effort as well. So
Okay.
we'll do 4. Use
Great.
2 intellect points. And
That's so weird. I would do that again. It jumped on top of the pencil.
well, I'm
and
going to
the
move
wire.
the pencil.
Oh.
And I got a 16 on the die
You got a 16 on the die
with 4 levels of effort.
with 4 levels of effort. Okay.
Louise.
So you spend 4 levels of effort, and there's a moment where Dean Lagrange glances down at his data pad, and then he glances back up and he goes, "Very well. I will attend to it. We wouldn't want there to be any inconsistencies in your records." And he strolls out of the room. You hear the heavy kind of airlock seal of the bridge kind of seal behind him as he walks out and towards the elevator.
And I talk into Chet Gamma's ear.
Like his little earpiece.
Yeah. Hello, Chet.
Hello, Jacqueline. That was
I-
very fun to observe.
Tried to buy you at least a little alone time for now.
I appreciate that.
I'm not sure if he entirely bought that. Not that I was, of course, lying.
Right. You wouldn't even
As
have any
I-
deception algorithms installed, would you?
No, of course not, as I'm
Surely.
currently corrupting the data that was his original.
Digitally winking.
Okay, great. So you're going to try and corrupt his data. You're going to need to navigate to the node with data storage in it. You've got a map of the data sphere in front of you, and that's easy to do. You swoop down there and get yourself into the records. You find there's a firewall around Dean Lagrange's stuff, a level 5 countermeasure. And so you'll need to roll an intelligence task with a difficulty of 5, target roll of 15 to successfully access his records. As you're rolling that, another piece of you somewhere off in the ship notices the elevator doors kind of seal shut behind him, and you hear the elevator whir to life as he heads down towards the compliance department to check his own records.
I'll just use 5 levels of effort.
Great. The task becomes trivial as you deploy. Maybe you like kind of use like a little virus or something, kind of deploy like a little intrusion countermeasure. And it's almost like shaking hands with a firewall. You're like, nice to see you. I'm just going to go through, like the bouncer who knows you from when you were little. You just walk right in. And as you stroll into the data storage node, you get a sense that much like the ship's data engineer, Mark Putty, the note itself is meticulously crafted with a lot of redundancies and perhaps self-doubt. And so as you're examining the way everything is stored, it's like, okay, so the file is here, but then I see a redundant copy here, and then it looks like someone put another bank of hard drives over in the engineering room, even though there's not a server room there, just to put some files on those and they whatever. And so as you're going through and making these modifications, you're essentially just trashing the file, right? You're like corrupting his most recent report.
I'm sure, of course, changing the audit logs to show error.
Okay, great. As you do that, you realize it's like, oh, I have to do this like 12 times because freaking Mark Putty installed all these redundancies into the ships. There's like hard drives in the data server, which is right next to the research department. That's where his actual office is, where he sits and works right near Kaya and the Arboretum. But then there's some in engineering. It looks like there's some data in robotics because I guess it might be helpful to have it near the robots.
You can never be too safe.
Yeah, we've got some hard drives in cold storage next to the cryopods. We've got like, they're just all over the ship.
Jacqueline sighs internally a little bit, but also is proud of what Mark was able to do.
Right.
Just sucks right now.
Yeah. You get through the last file just as Dean Lagrange steps into the compliance department. And strangely enough, you've never had any cameras in the compliance department office. You still don't. It's almost sensory in terms of your sensory information. It's a complete wall. There's nothing there. And you've always looked for like, there's got to be data in there. He must have some kind of access to a computer or a network or some data sphere of some kind. You've never found your way in. And today is the same. You try a bunch of different functions. You're like, maybe it's a back door hidden in the weapon systems. Maybe it's whatever. You swoop around the ship and you just can't find a way in to monitor what he's doing. But you do notice that a little while later, an updated correct version of the report, which was already filed and correct, reappears in the ship's system and is there for your perusal.
Thank you, Dean Lagrange. I have seen your report, and this is uncorrupted. Sorry for any delays before.
It's okay, Jacqueline. Not everyone can be perfect. And he strolls back out into the ship. As he begins walking the decks of the ship, he carries with him now a long, slim metal cane. So every time it taps on the ship's deck, it's just this big boop that like reverberates along the length of the deck.
I feel like this guy's got some nasty vibes about him. I don't know.
What do you mean I might be like foreshadowing a villain? What are you talking about? The ship's compliance officer who makes sure you do everything that the naval intelligence community wants you to do.
I'm sure he's just it's a red herring.
Yeah, misunderstanding. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut back to the reactor room where Astro, as you're just going down your checklist, you eventually stroll into the ship's primary reactor room. The ship has 4 main thrusters, and so each of them has its own nuclear reactor. And you are in the room for reactor 1. It's right next to the engineering department. Near the very aft end of the ship, there's one gigantic thruster with a huge reactor in front of it. And as you're kind of checking the coolant levels and going through all those things, Julian Brooks, the robotics engineer, is also in that room. He's got a small little droid that he's built that each reactor has one of these droids. It's just because there's a bunch of radioactive stuff in there. So he's like, well, we could have a little mechanical version that will kind of get in there, adjust any settings that need to be tweaked, or if we need to do like a dive into the coolant to repair something. And so he's in there running tests on the robot. And so it kind of jumps in. And as you watch the readouts, you see like, okay, we've intentionally created an overload. We're going to see if the robot can fix it. It did a good job. And so you're just kind of checking off, seeing that it goes well. Julian sees you come in and he looks over. Oh, hey man, I can't talk right now. I'm doing this, but if you need anything, just give me like 5 minutes and then I can come over and help you out. Okay. I'm just going to finish up this test here. Okay, buddy, dive. And the robot, jumps into the coolant tank and is doing its thing. What are you doing?
He's going over to the storage.
Okay.
And he's just gonna go through the boxes in storage and check off everything that it's here and make sure that it's on his list.
Okay. So as you do that, you're looking through like, all right, extra food supplies, check, EVA equipment, check, whatever. And you're going through all your different supplies. The one that's like, bolts and screws and screwdrivers. Are you like meticulously counting every little piece of it to make sure it's all perfect? Or are you just like, there's some screws in there?
No, he's counting.
Okay, so this is going to take you a while.
Yep.
So you're counting all of the supplies that a ship that's intending never to return to the galaxy is taking with it.
Yep.
So go ahead and roll me an intelligence task. You're taking your time, so let's just make this a difficulty of 4, target roll of 12 to see how accurate of a read you get on the available supplies.
He's going to use 2 levels of effort.
So now it's a difficulty 2 with a target roll of 6.
Yeah.
Mhm.
First roll for me.
First roll for Trevor.
Unfortunately, that is a natural 1.
That's a natural 1. That's a free GM intrusion with no XP gained. You are going through the different storage supplies. Everything's looking pretty good. And then you hear from behind you, JB and his robot. JB goes, "Oh, shoot!" And you hear a little as the robot in the reactor's coolant chamber fizzles out. And the reactor, which has been sent into a state of overload, continues. Jacqueline, as you're poking around at files and you're kind of trying to figure out what Dean Lagrange is going on with, all of a sudden one of your little monitoring subroutines shows up and it's like priority alpha, emergency, one of the thrusters is going to overload and explode the back end of the ship. Mark Putty, you have just sat down having calmed yourself in your office at your bank of servers and data information, and all of a sudden you get this flood of EMP spikes and you're like, deploying little Faraday cages that drop over your hard drives and stuff. Roll me a speed task with a difficulty of 4 to drop the Faraday cages in time. Jacqueline, roll me an intellect task with a difficulty of 2 to figure out what exactly is going on in the ship and, who you might need to talk to about it. And Astro, what are you going to do? You are in the room. JB is not a nuclear engineer. He is a robotics guy.
Astro is gonna call where he thinks the nearest engineer is.
Okay.
Since he's been wandering the ship, he kind
Sure.
of has an
Dr.
idea.
Zarlo is not far away, and she is the chief engineer. And so you call Dr. Zarlo, and she hears you from the next room and comes running in. The room begins, like the lights start begin pulsing red. A little bit of a klaxon starts going off. And as this happens, she runs in and she goes, "Oh, okay, Astro, I need you to go and grab me." And she hands you like a list of tools to go and get from Warehouse 4, which is a significant sprint through the ship. She says to JB, "Okay, I need you to go and get me one of these backup robots so that we can get the parts out of there because they're going to be in the way of fixing this coolant problem." And then she climbs up the reactor, not wearing any EM shielding or anything, and literally, like science mode, she puts on a pair of safety goggles as if that's going to do anything for her. And then she leaps over the edge of the tank and dives in. And she just swims down into the reactor. The ship begins shaking as the thruster starts miscalculating and overloading. Mark Putty, what'd you do?
I used a level of effort and I rolled a 17.
Perfect. You are able to save all of the ship's data. There are no issues. You deploy all the Faraday cages exactly as they need to. Jacqueline, how'd you do?
I used 2 level of efforts to make it trivial.
Perfect. Okay, so then you succeeded on identifying there is an issue with Reactor 1. It's going to go into overload. It's already entered overload, which means that some engineering work needs to be done. However, you could forestall any future issues by telling your helmswoman, Saren Peters, to cut power to Reactor 1. You know what I mean? Like she could not pull from that thruster.
So, to understand correctly, the issue right now is the reactor's going into overload, producing way too much for that thruster. Thruster's about to
Explode. Yes.
Okay. I paged the helmswoman.
There is, sorry, I was just going to say, there is also a version of this where you pitch a different solution to me. Okay, great.
Miss Peters, we have an emergency.
Yes. Understood, Jacqueline. What do you need?
We need to redirect power from reactor 1, and we need to change it maybe, Jacqueline's doing calculations. I'm going to say, can we redirect it to shields and to air conditioning? This will buy us some time. Cut power to thruster
1. All right, Jacqueline, I can do that. And she begins kind of dialing things around. And next to her, the navigation officer, Adrian Wu, is like, "Let me help." And he sits down at the console, and together the two of them do those things. So they cut power, redirect energy from the stabilizers of the ship to the air conditioning and what was the other thing you wanted?
Shields.
Shield. Great. So the ship doesn't have like energy shields like force fields in Star Wars, but it does have a layer of electronic or electromagnetic field around it that kind of shields it from like radiation from the sun and stuff. And so that shield gets much stronger, and they kind of divert power to there.
I'm going to go into the PA system.
Mm-hmm.
Attention, crew. EVA is now on lockdown. Exiting the ship is not permitted at this time. EVA lockdown will be lifted when announced.
Extra like bulkhead seals come over all of the hatches and like lock them down.
I figure it's not a good idea to go outside when we have a heavily magnetized.
You are fully right. Okay, I need a speed task from you.
Yep.
It's a sliding difficulty. The better you roll, the faster you get the tools and get back to Zarlo.
I will use 2 levels of effort.
Okay.
19.
Okay, with a 19, Astro is a guy who knows how to move when something is wrong on a ship. And you make your way to Warehouse 4, where you note with some dismay that Kyle Smith is still not collecting that cargo. And then you grab the tools that you need, you sprint back to the elevator, you send the elevator to a different floor so that you can jump into the elevator shaft in 0G and just climb your way back down to the deck you need to be on, sprint back to Reactor 1. As you come flying into the room, Zara Lowe has only just made it to the base of the reactor. She's pulling some of the parts of the robot that have kind of jammed into the pump that keeps coolant moving out of there. And then JB has a second robot that's like just a big arm essentially that's kind of reaching down like a crane to kind of pull the debris out. She sees you, taps on the cage a couple times and holds out her hands like, toss the tools in here for me.
Okay, he's gonna go up and throw them down.
Okay, great. So you get to the top of the stairs and you toss, it's basically a big tool bag of like nuclear reactive stuff. As it falls down towards her, because it's in the water, so it's pretty slow, she jumps upwards to kind of meet it. And as she meets it, she has like an radiation suit. It's like the Iron Man suit. So she like grabs it in one arm and it like nanobots crawl along her body to shield her from the radiation in the chamber. And then her other hand, she grabs like, there's all these really complex tools in there. She goes for an oversized plumbing wrench and she goes back down to the bottom and literally gulfs the last piece of mechanics out of the pump and then just floats the wrench up towards you for you to like clear it out of the pump or out of the tank while she's like getting the rest of it going. Because you deployed, because you like warned everybody in time, power to this thruster is now cut off. There's still the one, like it's a combustion thruster, it's plasma, so there's still a big plasma fire out in front of it, but we're not feeding anymore into that fire, which buys her enough time to easily solve the problem. And so the ship does eventually, the whole room kind of goes quiet, and there's this like brief moment where everyone looks at everybody else like, okay, that's all done. And then she very slowly like floats up to the top of the reactor tank, kind of gets out. She hands some of the tools back to you. The little nanobot thing retracts into like a really old timey watch that she's wearing. She goes, I think I'll keep this on for the foreseeable future. And she heads back out of the room to go back to her checklists. Like it didn't phase her at all. She just goes back to what she's doing.
Dr. Zara Lowe. Sorry,
Yes.
Language has been a problem for me today. I'm going to have to fix that. Can you please report to the doctor's office, the med bay? We do require you to
Radiation
see-
exposure. I know. Okay.
It's normal procedure. Sorry.
It's fine. And she steps out of the one room and kind of heads up
As
towards
she's
there.
leaving, Astro, I think we should leave this tool bag here.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea, dude.
I'm gonna mark that down.
Yeah, let's do that. You're like changing where. Mark Putty, the emergency has ended. You get all the readings are normal again, so that you can lift the Faraday cages.
Mark's gonna go and quadruple check everything again after that. Just go to every department, do the same old thing, go to the pads and just be like, Jacqueline.
As you're walking out of your office, the next room over is the Arboretum. So it's a bunch of trees and plants and foliage and stuff that are being managed by Kaya Smith. And as you walk in from one end, she walks in from the mess hall on the other end of the room. She's still eating a granola bar and she's like, we haven't even deployed yet, and these guys already mutating my plants. We got to tighten this thing up. She goes over to check on everything and make sure all of her pH levels in the soil and stuff are normal.
Mark cries. I am having a bad day.
Oh, not you.
No, I know.
It's
I'm
okay. It's
so scary. Jackie said it was going to be fine, and then things went bad.
it's science. Things blow up sometimes.
What
It's
do you
gonna be
mean
all right.
sometimes? This is day one. We just got off the TV.
Yeah, well, they probably didn't see.
Okay. That
If
wasn't
it
the
makes
problem.
you feel
but-
better, it wasn't
Jackie!
broadcasted.
I told you not to watch.
Sorry, I'll leave the room.
What were you
Boom, pop.
Get on my data pad just to make sure she's not hovering around me. Where are you in the sphere, you little?
I zoom off to the helmswoman and to the PA system. Like, you may redirect power back to reactor 1 to thruster 1, and no longer have that diversion. I really need to check my language model. I'm sorry.
Glad we got that glitch out of the system. And she like straightens up her kind of power suit that Saren always wears, sits back down to the computer and puts everything back to normal. Chet goes, Jacqueline, can I get a situation report on why that happened?
Sure thing. Bear with me one moment. And I go in the PA system. EVA lockdown no longer under effect. And then I switch over to Chet's ear. Chet Gamma?
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Josh?
Doing diagnostic data now. It appears perhaps there was something going on in the robotics room near the reactor that caused an issue. I think we will have to do an inquiry with JB.
Okay. Let Lagrange know.
Do you want to figure out what happened before I tell Lagrange?
Yeah, call JB up here, have him report, and then tell Lagrange, so that we can't have Lagrange thinking that we're trying to step on his actual role on the ship. But if we just told them at the same time, and there was just a little bit of system lag before he heard it, these
Well, then
things
it can't
happen.
be helped.
Yeah, EM spikes, solar radiation.
JB, please report to the bridge.
Chibi looks over at you and goes, "Down to face the music," and he walks off towards the bridge.
Screw 473.
Amazing. JB goes up to the bridge. He gives a report on what happened. He was running some tests. Something went wrong. Everyone reacted in time and fixed it. Dean Lagrange walks onto the bridge as he's giving his report right at the end of it.
Dean Lagrange, glad you can make it to the bridge. We have just done a diagnostics. It appears that perhaps there was an issue with robotics, and it is being dealt with as we speak.
Yes, I saw Reactor 1 experienced some crisis. And Chet says, yeah, but it seems like a perfect trial run for our emergency response. It sounds like Zara Lowe conducted herself admirably. And Dean says, all the same, emergencies like this should not be happening on board a ship of this caliber. Something will have to be done. And he says, how about you come with me, Mr. Brooks? And he leaves the room, JB following him, looking a little bit like a sad puppy, like he walks out of the room behind him.
I hop into JB's ear.
Yeah.
Do not respond. Please just report back on how your interview with Lagrange goes. That is all.
He looks up at a security camera in a corner and just kind of winks at it and then follows him in. And that's the last we see of JB for a little bit as he goes into the door opens and we see kind of in front of them a dark room lit by glowing screens alone and whatever. He steps in there and the door seals behind him. And that's all we see of it.
Bye, JB. See you next time.
If we ever do. At that moment, we're going to cut back to Ronan Voss. Ronan, what have you been up to? There was a shipboard emergency, but it didn't really apply to you. It's probably been a few hours since we took off. Mars is starting to fade into the distance as we head out into more of just our solar system, kind of void space. What's Ronan up to?
I think at this point, during the emergency, he probably looked up at it and kind of just shook his head like, here we go. But during that moment, he probably also was thinking, there's going to be a lot of people going to work right now to get stuff done. They're probably going to be hungry afterwards. Now's the time to start prepping. So probably during that time, he's just been prepping food and getting stuff ready. and maybe he hasn't done like a whole cooking, but he's just set out a buffet. So as soon as the lockdown was ended, he just started putting food out. So right now he's just kind of sitting back and, maybe he's sharpening a knife.
Sure.
Hanging out, just watching over there. Maybe he's talking to, is Kaya still inside would Kaya still?
No, because Kaya went back.
Okay.
She had to check if her plants got irradiated.
Okay, well then no, he's just sitting in the back kind of overseeing and maybe sharpening a knife. Maybe
Sure.
Looking over at Ivan, making sure that he's...
Yeah, so you basically have like set out like a buffet.
Oh yeah,
kind of thing.
He's prepared.
So
sure with that.
and sure enough, a few moments later, the doors unseal and into the room walks the engineering team. So it's Zarlo who's kind of dragged Astro away from his checklists. She walks in. Kyle is still in the corner eating the quiche you gave him. The first thing she says as she walks into the room is, "Kyle, your absence has been noted." She walks forward and, sits down at the same table with him. Astro sits over there. A few moments later, in comes most of the bridge crew. Saren Peters is still at the helm of the ship, and Captain Chet Gamma is still up there, but the communications officer and the navigation officer have both come down. So they walk in and sit down, and there's just like a brief moment of, everybody kind of sharing food, and the energy in the room seems pretty good.
Yeah, Ronan would do, like, for most part, he's not going to say anything to anybody. He might at least make it known to walk up to the captain and, nod a head or shake his hand. Just captain,
Well, the captain's upstairs still. He's in the bridge.
He didn't come by? Okay, never mind.
Walks upstairs.
Goodbye.
Puts down his burger.
Yeah.
But at that point, he's just making sure everyone gets a dish and gets something in front of them. And once he sees that happen, he might just step away for a second to just clean up the back area and stuff like that. He's going to stay focused on the job and stuff, but for the most part, too, him being kind of to himself is another reason why not many people will come up to him to say stuff. So not many people will be approaching him at that moment anyway. They might be like, "Oh, this is great, great food," like stuff like that, like compliments, simple stuff. But that's just everyday stuff that he would get.
Right.
He's never, he doesn't really get any more interactions with that, at least with most of the crew.
Sure.
So,
and it does seem like, they're enjoying the food, whatever you prepared it well. They're happy with the results and everything. It's considering it's like an after action meal. It's pretty peaceful here. Some of the ships you've been on with your history, after an emergency on board the ship, the mess hall can be pretty rowdy. That is not the case here. Everyone's still keeping their composure. Everyone's kind of keeping it together. We're going to actually do a little bit of a time skip here. We're going to jump forwards about 2 weeks as the ship leaves behind planetary orbits and enters the asteroid field. A big ring of asteroids in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy separates the inner planets from the outer planets. I'm sorry, our solar system, not the galaxy. Separates our inner planets from our outer planets. So this crossing, basically the next planet would be Jupiter on the outside of it. And as the ship is crossing through here, Chet Gamma has decided that we're going to use this as an opportunity to practice some emergency maneuvering. This doesn't apply to any of you. It's the bridge crew who mostly are at work, and engineering who have to be on station, but as the supply officer, your role is not necessary. So I'm not sure what you're all up to yet, but what's happening with the ship is that every now and then it judders or it dives or it whatever. Chet Gamma is intentionally putting them on collision courses with asteroids, waiting for Jackie to notice and then letting the crew like react to the fact that they're going to run into an asteroid. And that's basically what's happening up there. I would love to get one overarching roll from you, an intellect roll, just on how fast you're able to react, and that will translate to how smooth is the experience for the rest of the ship.
Sure. Understanding this is his training, I'll probably just put in my 3 levels of effort.
Okay.
And a nat 20.
First nat 20. Let's go. It's actually very peaceful to be evading asteroids and having near collisions. As it turns out, Jacqueline at full speed, having corrected whatever that weird corruption error was in your language architecture and able to communicate at full power, the ship is, it's basically just one smooth, it's almost like drifting. You're just like a smooth motion, stabilizers are involved, it's all in there. You're operating on the ion thrusters of the ship, so they're a little bit less powerful than the main plasma thrusters. The ion thrusters give you much more maneuvering capacity.
Correcting course by 7 degrees. Changing course by 12 degrees. And it's just this readout of constant
Yeah. I don't know if Mark is going to check his screens or not, but if he does, it's just one long list of like coordinate changes. Like the course just keeps changing and everything is perfect about it. What are the three of you up to while the ship is going through maneuvers like this? As a reminder, there are some kind of recreational and crew-based facilities on the ship too. There's a holodeck, there's a gym, there's a shooting range. So if you want, you could be in any of those spaces, or each of you has a map in front of you of the ship. If there's a room that you think would be fun to visit and explore, feel free to put yourself there and we'll build a scene in it. These opening scenes are very much driven by you before I really wreck y'all in the next session. So have your fun.
I think Astro would be with Ronan as they're just probably in the mess hall, just like
I'd probably be cleaning. I'd probably be either cleaning up again or just prepping some more vegetables and stuff there.
When you say cleaning up again, is it like he's cleaning up a spotless building or a spotless room, like it's always clean, or is it like there's always a mess and so he's constantly cleaning?
I would imagine like maybe there's just like someone to finish eating and there's dishes. So
Got it.
He's like
Okay.
washing, like because he's probably running every single role in that kitchen.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
So he's just back there, maybe washing a dish or two. Maybe at this point, Astro, and we're also drinking buddies.
Okay.
So I'd imagine we might have like a drink set aside while we're doing our thing. And
Take it away.
So, how does this compare to your other ships?
Oh, I mean, it was a restaurant that I owned, and it's kind of no different, really. I ran it alone. I had one person at the start, but they just kind of left and never talked back again. But they didn't really help in the kitchen much. They were just out front to say hi and see people. So not too needed. I can kind of do that myself too.
I don't think that role is needed on a ship.
No. This is first come, first serve. Although everybody gets a plate, I make sure everybody eats. But for the most part, not too different. Other than being in the void.
You get used to that. But I'd say this crew is much more capable than other crews I've been with.
Have you worked with more people than just this, or have you always been solo?
I've always worked with people. That's just part of space work.
Have you been on other ships before?
7.
Oh, wow. Oh, I've only been on one before this one, so already you have more experience.
Yeah. Let's say that. It certainly is experience.
Yep.
Not an experience I'd wish for other people to have, but certainly more.
You can say that again. One ship was enough for me to learn a lot, but I'm hoping, and I can already tell that this ship is much better experience than my last adventure. But I'm hoping that this one also for you is
No reason.
I was like, what are we about to hear? Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is better. It hasn't blown up yet, so that's a good start.
Yeah, I'd rather it not blow up.
Trust me, you don't want it to.
As long as you guys are in there, I think I'm trusting that it's in good hands.
New ship like this should be fine.
As long
Bring.
as you say so.
Mr. Voss,
Yes, Jacqueline?
hello. I just thought I would comment that there's only a 2.3% chance that this ship will explode at any given moment.
Ronan's just gonna slowly look at Astro.
And that's unsupervised, but it is supervised. So if we take that into consideration, it is only a not 0.00000002546% chance of exploding.
Ronan's just gonna nod his head. He's like, thanks for the comforting comment, Jackie.
Yes,
Do you have information on other ships?
I do.
Do you know what the percentage chance that the Dream Hauler was going to explode at any given time?
Yes. Its marketing posed it as unexplodable. And I do believe it did have a malfunction.
That it did.
At the time of construction, based off of the reports I have access to, I see it had a 2.96% chance of exploding with supervision.
Ronan's gonna kind of like stop washing the plate as he hears this and just kind of look up, like,
according to many historians who work with more recent history, they do believe that it is in fact unavoidable what happened on that ship. Though, of course, unknowable to the crew at the time.
Certainly was unknowable.
Was there anything else you'd like to ask?
No, I just wanted to compare.
Oh, of course.
Did that ship blow up? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it did.
It had a malfunction.
Oh.
Major malfunction.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't feel comfortable.
Understood. I will not bring up the topic of ships exploding with you again.
That's my fault.
Most appreciated.
I brought it up. I wanted to know.
Hey, it's all right. I'm here for any questions you have. And now I'm leaving.
And scene. Mark, where might we find Mark Putty?
You see Mark Putty's on the holodeck playing Lario Kart Galactic Tour
Nice.
with his sister Michelle online.
Amazing. Making the most of being in the galaxy and having that signal for a little bit longer.
Just feeling the light drifting as we're going through this asteroid field. Extra real today.
How do you think he's doing? How about an intellect roll?
Oh, I want to say he's doing great because he's a goddamn nerd, but
You can apply some effort if you want.
it's yeah, we'll do one level of effort. He's trying a little harder than he should just for his sister. She's wrecking me. Got a 3.
You got a 3. You watch as you get lapped for the second time as Michelle flies by. Her voice comes over the communicator. You're not doing very well today.
I'm in space. It's been stressful. I haven't had time to practice. You're down there having fun.
The game is in space.
But shut up. Shut up.
She hits you with a shell.
No.
Does this have like a pain indicator, like in real life?
Oh yeah, it's like it's on the holodeck. So you're sitting in the car. You watch as like a huge bullet bill type missile zooms towards your car.
I've got the text too good up here. You need to take it easy.
What are you talking about? It's a TV. It's played on a 2D
Not-
screen.
I have a full haptic feedback suit with needles in it.
The artificial gravity in the room is temporarily disabled as you're sent spinning off the track, ricocheting off the wall.
Yeah, fully strapped in. No wonder I'm doing worse. I'm getting a concussion, sis.
Oh my gosh.
Well, sorry, I'll try and take it easy on you since you suck at this.
No, shut up. I can do it.
I can let you win if
We're
you
doing
want.
another cup. Run it back.
Fine. In front of your eyes, the menu kind of appears floating in space, and the game type changes or whatever. Jacqueline, as you're just like making your rounds of the ship and verifying everything, you notice that the holodeck is active, and so you pop in to see what's happening, and so you arrive just as the next race begins. Go ahead and make another roll for me, an intellect roll, and let's see how you do on this second race.
You got 2 levels of effort.
Yeah, you are. So you're gonna add 6 to this roll.
It's going to reset, I'm sure. Okay. Please, God. I imagine Jackie is like the ghost you race. That's like the best one. Like your last PB. PR.
Nat 20!
Nat 20! Let's go! This time, things are different as the next race starts. So, Jacqueline, you arrive to check on things, and instead of a struggling Mark Putty, you see Mark Putty, like, because it's in hollow and he's, like, fully immersed, he's, like, surfing on top of the car, like, he's living his life out here. He's zooming around the track. You watch as he knocks Michelle right off of the edge of Rainbow Road for the 6,000th time. She goes zooming off into space. Mark, how are you behaving as you're just zooming through this race?
I'm way too excited.
Eat it!
He's just really happy. He's really excited. He's just happy to be having a little bit of a distraction away from everything, a little bit of normality, as he's still hasn't made the big jump to get the heck out of here. Do we know how much longer that is until we've got...
About 2 weeks.
Okay.
Has he submitted that calculation yet?
He's almost done. He's so close.
So, Jackie, you know this then.
Yes.
As you pop in, he's playing Lario Kart, but he hasn't even submitted his one calculation.
A little ghost car pulls up alongside yours. No. The steering wheel pilots itself as I take my free hands and just Very impressive.
Plasma ball.
It goes right through the ghost car.
Sorry, I'm just the personal best for this track.
But I am absolutely crushing it this time. You cannot beat me. I don't care what kind of.
Oh no, this would normally be way back there. I have just changed what it looks like, so I can come up alongside and say hello.
Your task speed run ends here.
Oh, I would never change the world record.
I do not believe you. Do you need something, Jacqueline?
Yes. Those reports I'm still waiting on.
It's, we've just had a few little mishaps. I just want to make really sure 20 what's the multiple of 20?
In what direction? What are you?
Like it's quadruple, but apple.
Are you trying to square it twice?
I'm trying to be super sure it's okay.
You trying to put it to the exponent of 4?
I'll get it to you after this race. This is the last system I'm checking.
Did you say twin apple?
I don't know. I said twintuple.
Oh.
I don't know what is the triple quintuple, whatever that number is for 20. I've gone over it many times, is what I'm getting at.
I just want to say the deadline is in 2 weeks, and preferably we would like to receive it before the deadline.
This is my last system check. This is serving a purpose. God, why is the music in the game always so loud?
Sorry, I like to turn it up for dramatic effect.
Thank you. I'm about to cross the finish line, Jackie.
You got it, buddy. And with that, the ghost car just fizzles out. Remember those reports.
You soar across the finish line, handily defeating Michelle.
Yes.
Leaving the record now at 1-1.
Oh no. One more race.
The screen appears in front of you. The track begins resetting.
Okay.
And the new race begins. I'd like another roll.
I'm way too confident in myself. I know I'm gonna win, so I'm not using any effort. That's a 7.
That's a 7. You know what, Trevor? Why don't you roll on behalf of Michelle?
Absolutely.
Let's leave an element of chance here in this tiebreaker.
15.
15. Mark Putty.
Get God.
That high you were riding, Trevor's like competitive on this NPC's behalf. That high you were riding has just evaporated after this conversation with Jackie. Totally brings the reality of your situation back into your mind. You start off weak. You miss the starting at exactly the right moment, so you get the speed boost. And then as it goes, it's just like power up after power up are useless to you. Like they keep giving you the wrong tools. And it just is a bad race all around. And as it ends, you drive up to the ending, and of course Michelle's not really doing this. Michelle's not using a holodeck, but Michelle's little avatar is like standing up on the car and laughing at you and pointing at you and everything as you drive up for your like second place, and you're and you're like looking all upset. How are you feeling as the game ends? Michelle, love you, bro, and getting ready to log off.
Yeah, I love you too. Yeah, he's just kind of thinking to himself. It's like, hey, Michelle.
Yeah.
How are you? We just kind of jumped into this. I just want to check in, make sure you're okay.
Oh, things are good. Everything's fine
That's
around
good.
here.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Just just keeping things going.
Yeah.
Just, get the kids to school, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dave's good. Promotion at work, so that's
great.
nice.
That's great.
Yeah. How about with you? How are you doing?
I'm pretty scared.
Really?
Yeah. Just given the circumstances. I mean, you helped me get on here. It's but it's still, I don't know. I didn't really want to have to go all the way out here just to kind of keep making sure that I can keep living, So I'm a little scared.
Do you remember when we were like 8
Yeah.
and you saw that it was like, what was that? Was it a goldfish maybe in that pond?
Yeah.
And there were, and it was just some kind of mistake, some kind of toxic canister fell off of a drop ship and it just started pouring into the lake. And you were like so concerned about that fish that you like dove in and got it even though you couldn't swim and I had to come and get you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What I love about you is that you do the right thing even when it maybe puts you in extreme peril. And I think that you should trust more in the part of you that wants to do the right thing and worry less about the part of you that's like, am I capable of doing it? Because when something really matters, you find a way.
Yeah, it's sometimes you just do stuff. It doesn't mean like you're like good at it. It's just like an impulse.
But like, who cares if you're good at it?
It's it's people.
Here's what I want you to do. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of homework.
Okay.
I want you to try and make one friend on this ship. You spend your whole life trying to push people away, being afraid of how they're gonna think about you. Maybe if you got close to someone, they wouldn't care how you were doing, and maybe it would help you break out of this thing.
Or they'll end up hating me because I'm like,
what's the worst that can happen? You end up stuck on a ship with only 20 people and one of them just despises you out there in the middle of nowhere? What are sisters for if not to send you into situations like that?
That one person. Kyle.
I'm sorry, it cut out a little bit.
Nothing. Just...
It sounded like you said you were going to try.
Yes, I will try. There's some people that have been very nice, but I'll try. Thank you.
Okay. Well, great.
Great.
Same time next week?
Yeah, you're going down next time.
Okay. Whatever you say.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I love you.
Yeah, love you too.
All right, bye.
Bye. And she disconnects and you are alone in the quiet.
Fish slowly comes up beside me. It blows on me. Head and hands. Okay. Jackie.
Bring, bring. Hello, Mr. Putty. Did you call?
Yeah. Do you got I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't talked to many people lately. Got any like personality profiles? Does anyone on the ship particularly like curry?
Victor Meridia still hasn't submitted his freaking psychology reports to you.
Funny enough,
Yeah.
I do not have the crew's psychological report.
So I'm not the only one behind.
No, you're not.
That makes me feel a little better. So I got time.
No, that's not what that means.
I'm probably just a few more races.
But based off my own personal experiences, I might be able to give a rough estimate. What are you asking about?
Do you like curry, Jackie?
Well, I think I would like the idea of trying curry.
Do you want to watch me eat curry and tell you how good it is?
Actually, that would be really good data.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Good.
Bear with me one moment. I
Yep.
just have to wrap something up. I'll meet you in the mess hall.
Okay. No, I got one in my room. I was good.
Oh. Okay.
got-
Yes, I'll meet you at
Got
your
a
room
curry
then.
machine. Cool.
Jackie disconnects. Kaya Smith walks into the room. Did you just ask the ship's AI out on a date? We cut to wherever Jackie went. Jackie, what are we doing?
I am wrapping up what I had been doing during that entire phone call, which was encrypting it. And any parts that even mentioned what I thought might be any chance of personal information, just for some reason sounds garbled.
Oh, you mean like what he was saying to Michelle?
Yes.
Something that might mention like that he feels like he doesn't belong on the ship or whatever, like any of that kind of stuff.
Or any animosity, anything that Dean Lagrange could potentially use against him.
You're just getting in there and scrambling.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll an intellect task. Let's see how well you scramble.
So I'm going to go ahead and use 7 levels of effort. Jeez.
Okay.
3 for free. And then 4 not for free. So 4 times 2 is 8. So
Do you have an edge of 9?
I have an age of 7.
Oh, right.
So
3, 2, and 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Is this all intellect?
Such a
Yes.
big
Yeah.
number.
So what are your other two?
My might is 4, and that's just
Makes
how
sense.
easy it is to break that little chip. Where are
Your
you?
speed's
little
got to be
chip?
something, right?
Yeah. What's your speed, buddy?
Oh, yeah, my speed's 1. So yes, we're going to go with 7 levels of effort. And I rolled a 16 on the die.
Okay. There's
enough?
Yeah, there's not even data there to find, much less scrambled. Like you.
I want to leave in nonchalant points of him just, talking about normal stuff.
So you want it to seem like it wasn't scrambled.
Correct.
Okay. You
Otherwise, the one person on the ship who has their communications constantly scrambled. And of course, I've been scrambling everyone else's, at least the recordings of, just random bits.
Yeah. To put this in context, you rolled a 37.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Good roll.
You do that.
And then, so I'm just wrapping that up, putting a nice little bow on it. And then I go ahead, file those away.
Okay.
And I move myself over to habitation.
Okay. Down to the crew rooms. Great. Mark Putty, describe your particular bunk room for us, please.
There's a bed. It's a nice little thing. There's not a whole lot of really fancy decor or anything. He's got maybe just a few little crystals on his desk. He's got his nice little work space set up so that if he doesn't want to go to the formal office, he can just kind of be there. He's got his one big thing. He brought the Curry Favor 3000. Great name.
Let's go.
Which specifically is designed to only make any type of curry he wants.
Amazing.
So it just puts in any type of protein, veggies, the rice, and whatever style he just pops it in, and because it's his favorite thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's got like some nice little lights in there. It's nice blues and pinks as far as vibe goes. And he's just, as he enters the room, the fish kind of more freely swims around and just starts. It's also a speaker, so it just starts playing just gentle music. Yeah.
Jackie's been in the room the entire time, but is hiding until she's formally addressed.
Right.
He walks over to his pad, little data pad, checks around. Jackie, I know you're already here.
Well, I didn't want to be rude.
I've told you so many times to stop doing this.
I'm sorry.
If you don't want to be rude, respect the request, but I appreciate you coming over.
All right. I will try my best to not be in the same room you're in without asking you.
Thank you, I guess. I know it's hard because you're kind of integrated to everything, but like you don't have to be in my personal quarters before I'm there.
Well, I miscalculated how fast you'd be here, and
Okay.
that was on me.
okay.
By the way, I like your room, as
Thank
she
you.
then projects a little hologram miniature onto the desk.
Describe her hologram. I don't think we've heard that
We
yet.
have not.
Her hologram is this short woman. She's got a very, I guess, bland look. Something that's meant to fit in with a ship and not show too much personality.
Oh, like kind of like sleek industrial.
Correct.
Like okay.
And kind of formless. But there is the little bunny ears perched atop. And she's got a faint blue underlying everything, but of course she has little badges and pins of the ship's logo and colors embroidered. And then she just looks around and she's like, yes, I love what you've done. It's very Spartan.
Thank you.
You know, there's hologram projectors to put any kind of designs you'd like on the wall.
I'm getting to it. I just haven't made a decision
Well,
on the vibe.
let me help you out.
What?
She designs like this little thing. She looks at your fish droid and she designs a lifelike imitation of it in neon blue and pink, and then puts little bunny ears on it, and it like swims in a little loop on the wall.
Mark blushes. That's very cool, Jackie.
Take an XP. That's cute.
Yeah, just something to spice up the room a little bit. But speaking of spice, show me how this machine works.
Yeah, so it's like my favorite thing. It's I just I pick up some produce from Ronan and some other stuff every now and again, and I have a little mini fridge in here. He just pulls out some potatoes, some carrots, some onions, and some chicken and rice. It's like, yeah, so I kind of plop it all in here. He opens up each individual compartment, puts it in. It just kind of cuts it all up and cooks it like really darn fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty sick. Pretty cool. I like it a lot. And he pulls out like a little curry cube for the thing, puts it in its special little spot. And then we just gotta wait 30 minutes.
Oh,
It takes a while to cook stuff. It's quick, but it's like not that quick because rice. It's
no, of course, I understand.
Yeah. I didn't think about this part.
In the meantime,
Yeah.
perhaps we can go over that report one more time?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's. I've been nervous because then when I put it in, then like I'm pretty. I know we still got 2 weeks, but like that's another step that gets us closer to it. And so if I know it's not. I do want to be super short, but like if I don't put it in, then we might stick around a little longer.
Hey, I understand.
Yeah.
Humans have this weird thing where they associate tasks that need to be done anyway and have nothing to do with the timeline the timeline. And it's understandable, but keep in mind that, I mean, we're going to have to make this jump. You're already aboard the ship.
Yeah.
And
I had it done day one. To be it's ready to go.
I'm aware.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me ruminate on it.
I'm trying to protect you a little bit.
What's that?
There's a few others on board who like things orderly, and they technically have higher clearance than I do. Mm-hmm. And they might harp on you a bit. And I'm trying to avoid that.
You're trying to make sure I don't get in trouble and that someone's not mad at me?
Yes.
It's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I appreciate that. I'll get that in. I mean, you can see it. You can grab it.
I technically can't. It has to show on the logs that you've submitted it.
Okay. I just go over to my pad and just hit the button, send it in. There you go.
Ah, yes. Well, in that case, it looks like we've got it all prepared now.
Yep.
I do want to say, do you have any other coping mechanisms? It seems like you've been under a lot of stress. And
Cope? What do you mean? I'm fine.
maybe it's not my place. I know that you've refused to have any true psychological meetings with the doctor aboard, but it do seem that perhaps the stress is getting to you a bit.
It do. Yeah, I mean, I listen to music. I play the games. I journal I try to do it every day. I've missed the past 2 weeks, but
That's the most relatable thing you've ever said.
yeah, I don't know. I try to chat with people every now and again, but I just been hanging out, chat with you every now and again. That helps. But I paint my nails. That's really fun. And I pull out of my pocket this just kind of compact little device. So I try and change it up every day, and it makes me feel really good. And so I just put it over each individual nail, push like a color, and it just auto prints over top each individual one. And it's also, it like vibrates for like if I want to like rub my shoulders or something.
Oh, wow, that's an ingenious way to reuse machinery for unintended purposes.
Yeah. What? Unintended?
Oh, is it meant to massage you?
Yeah, that's a part of the function. It's like kind of like one of those bells and whistles that it doesn't really need, but it's like kind of fun.
Oh, wow, I've never thought to combine nail painting with a massager.
Yeah. I thought it was fun.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's another thing that helps me calm down. I don't do it with anything weird, it's for my
No,
shoulders.
I found it on the website here on the store, and oh, wow, it's sold out.
It's a good product.
I'll have to keep that in mind the next time we stop by the system.
Yeah. So it's about 25 more minutes for the curry.
We skip to 29 minutes in the future. What does the conversation look like?
And so like, my favorite one is like the Japanese curry because it's just like a classic. It's a little more flavorful. And it's done. Bing! Okay.
Jacqueline was taking notes on a little hollow thing. Just her drawing a bunny. She is recording details, but yes.
Yeah. So you've seen someone eat before, right?
Well, I do believe I have in fact seen someone eat before.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
I do have surveillance cameras in the mess hall.
Cool. Are you having fun?
Yes, I'm learning a lot.
Okay.
And you've taught me a lot about curry.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, I love it. That, just pops out the bowl.
Now, you've expressed that these have different flavors and profiles. As you eat this, could you please express in detail how different flavors hit you and at what time? Use precise time measurements if you can. Stopwatch clicks.
Okay. Pressure. It just shovels it in. It's like so hot. The first. It takes a while to calm down, but the first flavor is really hot.
Okay.
Really hot. It's really.
And this is a natural part of the process.
I mean, I'm supposed to wait, but you put the timer on, and I don't do well under pressure.
Oh, I can hide the timer.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I know it's clicking though. You've already showed it to me. So he just starts fiddling with his necklace again. He's got like another little pocket, like a fidget toy.
Sorry, Mark. And she turns off the timer. Actually, turns it off.
Okay.
And sorry, I didn't mean to put you under pressure. I just wanted the data as precise as possible.
That's okay. Yeah. No. Do we all want to listen to me talk about curry? Do we want to move on?
Take an XP for vamping on curry for a really long time. That was some impressive scene construction.
I love curry. Truly, I make it so much.
We'll skip a little bit further into the future here. We'll skip to the day of the Cosmeridium jump. Yes?
Well, I did want to follow up with JB.
Oh, okay. Your like little after action conversation?
Yeah.
Sure. JB is alive and well, it seems.
Good to know.
All his vitals check out normal, at least when you do a little scan with the instruments available to you. You find him in the robotics workstation, and he's been there like meticulously every day for at least 2 hours longer than like his shift would be, just like constantly dialing and tuning and like obsessing a little bit over the machinery. Yeah, okay, we gotta twist this thing over here and then make sure that's in there, and then if I program it this way, it's gonna, that's fine. Yep, that should do it. Okay, and then over here,
Bring.
yeah, what? Yeah,
JB, it is me, Jacqueline.
yeah. Is something wrong?
Well, I just wanted to follow up. First, I've noticed that you have been working 20% more in the last couple of days. I just wanted to follow up and see what has changed.
Oh, yeah. So after the little, snafu that we had the other day, Officer Lagrange thought that it would be appropriate to change the rate of my pay a little bit, but I need to make sure I'm making the right amount. So I'm just trying to put in a little bit of extra time to make sure that it's coming in. Plus, it's good for making sure that we can't have systems failures like that, obviously. So in the ship, so I'm using the extra time well, but I'm mostly I'm working a little long just to make sure I'm getting the same income amount. It's no big deal. It's just it's a temporary thing. He said once we do the jump, we can reevaluate, and we'll see if it's if everything goes well, then we'll be all right.
Understood. I will put in your record that it appears that you're doing an excellent job, and I'll make sure to note that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Did anything else? And then she kind of like sounds like she's a little closer to his ear, even though there's no projection. She just kind of whispers, Nothing happened in that room that I should know about, is there?
No. He's looking anywhere but at the little camera. No. No, it was just a civilized conversation, and appropriate disciplinary measures were taken, and that's it.
I start encrypting the audio log for this room. JB, if you need to, you can be clear with me, and if you're worried, I've encrypted this room's audio log.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
If it makes you feel better, I too share a distrust of Lagrange. And I just wanted to know perhaps if there's anything in the room I should need to know about that might threaten the crew's safety.
No, I don't think there's anything in the room that would threaten anyone's safety. No, because they're my robots. I'm building them, and they're going to be perfect. They're not no more mistakes like that. That was just a total glitch, not a recurring thing. Just all clear from here.
Understood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure to put in the fact that you've been doing overtime and make sure you're compensated.
Oh, thank you.
Jackie, heading out.
Soup. Beep boop. Okay. Are you leaving?
Yes.
Okay. you head out, and from that moment, we're going to jump a little bit ahead. The calculations have been approved, put in place. We're going to leave behind the engine room. We're going to go back up to the bridge where Captain Chet Gamma has his crew assembled. And again, Jacqueline is managing a broadcast. There's a little televised drone that's been kind of deployed behind the ship. So you've got this like follow satellite almost to get an angle of the ship doing its jump. All the people at home are watching, and Chet Gamma, is thinking about it. He's kind of looking over the calculations and everything. Communications Officer Finnegan, everything set? Absolutely, Captain. All right. Saren, ready at the helm? Yes, we're ready. Jacqueline, how we looking on thrust, power, stabilization?
Diagnostics look like they're well within parameters.
Exceptional. Navigation Officer Wu, ready? Yes, the course is charted. We're ready, Captain. All right. Crew, to your stations. He comes over the PA throughout the ship. Everybody moves to whatever their position will be for the jump. Particle accelerator, engage. And Jacqueline, you activate the particle accelerator. It begins kind of reverberating through the body of the ship. All of you feel the kind of shudder. This ship is 7 decks tall. It's got reinforced titanium armor plating on the outside of it, and the accelerator is moving so fast that the whole thing is shaking like an earthquake. The stabilizers on the sides of the ship kind of whir up to like really high power to keep everything stable and where it needs to be.
Charging at 20%.
Excellent, Jackie, thank you. He turns back to the camera and looks right at all the people at home, and he says, hope is a seed. Today, we put water on that seed so that a new dawn can bloom for all of humanity. When these things are finished charging, we are going to leave our galaxy for the first time ever. And when we come back, we're going to bring a whole new future with us. Jacqueline, how are the capacitors?
Capacitors are well within parameters, charging at 80%.
Exceptional. Crew, this is your 10-minute countdown. We will be launching through the Cosmeridium horizon. Deploy Faraday cages. Excellent. Medical officer, medbay ready? Victor Meridia comes back over. Absolutely. 30 years ago, click, and the captain shuts off the
one that turns it off. Like, we're good.
Perfect. And he radios down to engineering department. Everything in ship shape?
All good to go.
Excellent. Zara Low, reactors running steady? Steady, Captain. Jacqueline, how's the accelerator speed?
We are at full capacity, Captain. We can hand on for standby for another additional 30 minutes if need be.
Nah, let's hit it.
Understood.
And Jacqueline activates the particle accelerators. There is a huge flash of light. It is so bright that it comes in through all the view screens of the different research areas of the ship and then just ricochets down the halls, the whole thing lit up as though there's just light on all sides of you. And then resounding in front of you or resolving in front of you out of this one bright star-sized explosion is just this window. And looking through it, you see this like nebulous kind of blue, almost like formless gas just kind of swirling. You see stars that are different colors, bright magentas, teal. And as the ship begins approaching it, you hear the captain say, "Helmswoman Peters, engines at full." And you feel the ship reverberate as the thrusters spin up, the plasma thrusters engaging, the maneuvering ion thrusters shutting down, the reverberation of the ship. And just as the ship is getting towards kind of the entry level of this portal, you get this better view inside, especially Jacqueline with all the sensors and extra data available to you. You can see it's almost like 2D layers, but their entire galaxies are just like smushed together. And he calls down to Mark Putty and he says, "Data Officer Putty, how long do we have with this event horizon? Your calculations indicate that we've got about a minute."
About a minute, sir.
Copy that. Let's do this. And on that note, this episode of the Winged Badger Tavern comes to a close. We will be back in 1 hour to see what happens when we cross the Cosmeridium threshold and enter the glittering canvas.
Yeah.
But until then, hang tight. We'll see you soon.
Yes.